So yeah, we'll focus, I guess, a little bit first on kind of that Lamborghini story, because I know that that's one that people are pretty interested in for how did we get back in? How did we develop this partnership with Lamborghini? And I think it honestly starts decades ago where Bridgestone I think, like a lot of companies, as they're building a reputation, they go racing. So as part of racing, you have to have that racing to road connection if you really want to drive the business forward. And you really can't do that without key OE partnerships. And so the biggest milestone for us really that we celebrate to this day was the Porsche 959. So I can't imagine a more iconic car in the 80s in terms of technology. And part of that technology was the tires that we developed. Some of the first run flat technology really applied to that. And to this day, we still support that fitment with product in the market. If I move to the 90s, we had the XJ220, so one of the fastest production cars of its day. It's one that we continue to support today with new technology, so updating those tires over time to give those drivers the ability to keep those on the road. The 2000s was a lot about the Enzo, and I think after that, the market changed, a lot more focus on trucks and SUVs. And so with that, the opportunities to have these exciting OE fitments, you got to be really, really selective. I think over the last 5 to 7 years-ish, we're looking for who that partner should be. And I think Lamborghini came to us looking for a new technical partner. So I think they had some big aspirations around developing even more track-focused cars and then pushing into this new generation of hybrid hypercars. And with that, they were looking for technical partnership, and they found us. I know that they've had a really strong relationship with Pirelli over the last 50 years or so. And one of the things that we were able to offer is we've got to demonstrate technical superiority. Beyond the technology, though, it was really about developing a true partnership with them in that, our engineers live with their engineers. Our people, help put on their events when they have launch events for new cars. And so I think that depth of partnership, starting with the Huracan STO, was really kind of the tip of that spear. Then you saw it with the Sterrato and then the Revuelto, and now we're really getting pushed into some of their other platforms, even like more mass market ones like the Urus, that have allowed us to develop that over time. We build the technology, they see that it works, and then we get to partner better together over time. At the beginning, and I think a lot of partnerships, you have to prove yourself, right? They're taking a risk by moving from their very known quantity to a new quantity. And so normally those things start off with, we'll say a technical discussion of, show me what you've got. Show me something that you've done over here that I can translate into what I need to prove to me that you've got a good starting point. And we were able to do that. And then from there, it's, how do I take that and then customize it for exactly what I need? So, something like the STO, very, very specifically designed for track performance. And so they've got incredibly specific performance requirements for how they want it to handle, how they want it to, what does lap 1 feel like versus lap 10? That's really how we develop something like the Potenza Race, which is a track day tire specifically designed for the STO, which was successful enough that we were able to bring it to other platforms in other sizes after that. So it takes a couple of years of trying to kind of feel each other out. Are we the right partner for each other? Can you guys actually do what we want to do? And over time, what we found is that they love doing business with us. We have demonstrated our technical capability, and we've been able to build on that over time to get these additional platforms and really just reinforce that. So yeah, it's been really great to work with them. I was able to be a little bit involved in some of the launch events with the STO. The Sterrato kind of came out of left field, I think, for a lot of the industry. And I describe it as, it's one of those things where that car shouldn't exist. It's incredibly silly, but the world needs really silly cars like that every once in a while to remind us that, guys, this isn't super serious. This has got to be fun. And the Sterrato to me exemplifies what a supercar should be, which is just something that makes people smile, right? Everybody that I know that's ever driven one or even seen one is this thing is just so rad. And so for something like that, we have to think outside the box, right? You're really developing something absolutely new that nobody's done, at least in decades, if ever before. And so the requirements from Lamborghini, obviously, were we need this thing to be able to go off-road. We want it to have off-road durability capability, which for us meant run flat capability. It's still a Huracan. It's going to do damn near 200 miles an hour. And so we've got to have this high speed rating. So if I think about kind of the cornerstones of what makes that fitment unique, Y speed rating, run flat, all-terrain product, still, as far as I understand it, completely unique in the market. And it just allows that vehicle to be exactly what it was designed to be, which is you can literally go anywhere with it. And I know at the launch event, they had a great setup around on track, off track, on track, off track. And Again, I wasn't there, but the folks that we sent to support that event, I've never seen them smile that much or talk that fondly about an experience they've had. So in my mind, that's what makes it successful, is you get those responses from people. There's maybe two parts of that. There's obviously the vehicle part, right? So it's a little bit taller, the suspension's a little bit floppier. It doesn't have all the aero of like an STO necessarily. From the tire side, it's really about two things. It's about contact area. So because it's an all-terrain tire, you're gonna sacrifice contact area that you would have on like a summer tire. And then also compound. So the summer compounds are designed for higher heat durability, but also really just more a summer type application, higher heat, more sensitive, we'll say, to like lower heat, whereas the all-terrain products have their expectation is they perform across a much wider band of heat. So I would say like you're going to give some of that pointy end track performance away just based on physics and how that works, physics and chemistry. But in general, at least the folks that I've talked to, the way that the Sterrato was designed, like it's still plenty capable for basically any normal driver that's going to try to take it to a track. Like, I don't know that anybody's going to walk away disappointed with the experience, we'll say. It's not a car that you would buy for lap times anyway. Interestingly, so the STO and the Sterrato, obviously towards the end of the Huracan's life, I think that what that allowed us to do though was get in on the ground floor for the development of the Revuelto, which I have driven a Revuelto, and boy, you talk about like an experience that'll change your life. That is just spectacular from top to bottom. The most interesting thing to me about the Revuelto is just how it doesn't feel like a 1,000 horsepower supercar. Like driving it around like the streets of Phoenix earlier this year, I was astonished at how livable that it was for how capable that it is. And I think the uniqueness of that is you get a car with all of that power, you've got to have incredibly wide tires to support the amount of traction that it needs. And so they're some of the widest tires that we've ever made within Bridgestone. And I know that anytime we push those envelopes in terms of tire geometry, tire sizing, it requires a deep technical partnership, especially with OEs, to make sure that we have all the manufacturing processes and that we can, ensure that we're fulfilling our supply commitments and making sure that as we push that bounds, like, are we running into problems that we've never had before? Like, let's figure out how we solve them together. So that's the stuff that to me is really exciting about trying to do something that's truly different with a new platform. Yeah, so the interesting thing about OE development, and Lamborghini is obviously probably the most exciting partner that we have today, or at least one of the most exciting, but all of that partnership, all of that technology, it translates across all of the other OEMs that we work with. So if I think about Toyota, General Motors, Ford, Mazda, that same level of engineering and oversight and honestly passion trickles down into things that people drive every single day. And that's one of the things that I love about being in the tire industry is it's not just one OEM that you work with, in that, you can walk down the street and see a Camry sitting there with Bridgestone OE tires where like, I know the person that designed those, and it's just really satisfying to be able to see your work in the real world every day. And whether the drivers think about it or not, it's a critical part of their suspension. It keeps them safe on their day-to-day journeys. And it's one of the things that I love about being in the tire industry.
Have you ever gotten an automated speeding ticket either from a fixed position camera or a school zone? In the US, that's less common than it is in Europe, and most of the time when you get the notification, they'll tell you that it's just about the payment, that they're not going to report anything. As long as you pay your speeding ticket, you won't have any points on your license or any additional risks. But did you know that those are some of the easiest tickets of all to fight and beat, especially with a partner like the Ticket Clinic? In Florida so far, they are 500-0. They've never lost fighting one of these tickets. So not only can they get them totally thrown out, but they can save you a ton of money. So check them out now at the link in the description below. You can actually just take a picture of your ticket, no matter when it comes in the mail or how you're issued a ticket, and text that picture to 305-305, and that'll get them on the case immediately. They'll let you know exactly what the proper course of action is and what their strategies are for every local municipality or jurisdiction to get your ticket dealt with. And of course, for regular tickets, for speeding tickets and things like that, the Ticket Clinic is your perfect partner to fight every one. They'll help you avoid costly fines, risk of license suspension, points on your license, jail time, higher insurance premiums, all the bad things that come with getting a bad ticket. The Ticket Clinic can help. They've got a nationwide network of attorneys that can help you find the perfect local partner that knows your area, knows your county, knows everything about it, and can help you fight your ticket and achieve the best possible outcome. So check them out now at the link in the description below to thank them for their support of VINwiki and fight your ticket with the Ticket Clinic.